I'm Bernice Soffer, and we're continuing our interview with Brandy Llewellyn, who works with seashells and is telling us about sailors' valentines and how she makes them. Welcome, Brandy.
Thank you.
What we didn't talk about are the tiny little shells that you work with. Could you tell me about this one?
This is probably the smallest sailor's valentine that's ever been made, and it's a piece of jewelry. I made this in 2008, and it handmade the little box. And what's special about this piece is it has star sand in it. And star sand is like an amoeba, and it leaves a skeleton, and the skeleton has little stars, little protrusions. And so I put that around the center of a little heart, and then I made the flowers, and it's three-dimensional. And it took a very nice ribbon in 2008 in Sanibel, Florida.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You must have wonderful eyes.
Yes, I have a little help.
You use a magnifier.
I do use a magnifier. I use a jeweler's lens that I work with when I'm doing really very small detail work.
And continuing on with this tiny, small, teeny detail work, will you tell us about these lockets?
These are miniatures that are created in watch cases. You get watch cases that the watches don't work anymore, and preferably I prefer the ones where the lids screw off, and then what you do is you create a little miniature sailor's valentine in it. These are all retired pieces. I've showed them at all the shows, and they're retired, and they've all got ribbons and trophies.
Obviously, you can wear these.
Yes, you can. Of course, an old watch case has a hook on it, and you just get a chain, and there's a certain way that you loop the chain that holds the watch, and then you just wear it like a piece of jewelry.
And do you make these to sell them?
Yes, I do.
Could you tell me a little bit about what they cost?
Well, on these pieces, in this case here, they're probably around $6.50.
Well worth it. They're just a beautiful work of art.
Thank you very much.
Brandy, I see you've got some of the materials that you use in making the boxes, and it would be fascinating to learn just what you do, what kind of glue you use. Could you tell me about this?
Sure. First, these are supplies, and you would start with a octagonal box, wood, and it's 8 sides. And then what you would do is cut a mat board that is shaped exactly like that. Then you need scissors, 527 glue, tweezers, shells, and then you're off. You create your design on your mat board. Then you'll take and create shells, and you might create a little shell like this, put it on a wire, would be one of the shells. It's got 5 shells, and you glue them together and put a little center, and then you would, once you've drawn your design out, you would put your design in the center, your graphic design, put your flowers maybe around here, and then you would have that mat glued inside this box. And then you would have a glass, and then at the end you would seal it all off. You put the glass in, and then you'd take these little sticks, there'll be 8 of them, and then you'd glue them inside along the edges, and that would hold and seal up the valentine.
Where do you get your materials? Does Michaels have these materials?
Michaels would have some of them. Of course, you probably could buy tweezers, you could get the glue, you can get the mat board. The shells you would have to definitely collect from the beach or buy and purchase.
Now we're in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area. Do you know of any people who are teaching this or any people who are involved in shell making?
I don't know of anyone here, but me and a friend, Jane Santini, we teach this. There's other teachers that teach this. On Cape Cod or Nantucket, there's some that teach. But I teach it, and so you just have to do some research on teaching it.
And you're on the web
teachers
as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go on the web and find out some more information about what you do.
You can go to my website.
Well, this has just been absolutely fascinating. You know, before we end, I've been wondering, do you lacquer these? What?
Sometimes you do to give them, this shell is a mussel shell and it has a tendency to be a little dull, and you look at it and it all depends on how, if it's got a lot of beautiful white in it, sometimes you may not want to do it if it looks pretty good, but if it doesn't, you take a very thin coat of lacquer and coat it, and it'll just give it a little gloss is all. You don't lacquer too many of the shells, makes them too shiny and too artificial, and I don't myself, but each artist is different.
And Brandy, is this the first time you've been working with tiny little things like this? Because as an artist, you usually work in paints and in a broader spectrum.
This is the most intricate art I've ever done, and this is the first time I've ever worked with things this small.
And now we have a departure. We have a basket, a basket with shells. Could you tell me about this?
Okay, I'll start here in the front. It might be a little difficult to see, but this basket is called the Sanibel basket. I created this basket for Sanibel Island in 2008, and it has a beach scene. This is a combination. First, I'll start with a combination how it's woven. It's woven with a combination of traditional weave and the threads, which are Irish linen threads. And so what I do is I make the design, create the designs, doing both kinds of weave. And then this is a rim that is made from the Coco plumosa palm tree. And on the basket is a sunset. It's got waves and little clouds. And then you turn it around and it's got little tiny birds woven in the threads. And then all the way around the basket are miniature shells with grasses and things coming up to create a complete beach scene. And then inside is the Sanibel Lighthouse. So, and this is a limited edition basket that I'm only going to make so many of.
So you make the basket as well as the shells?
I make the entire basket from top to bottom. Nantucket baskets are created on a mold. You start from the bottom, you have a base. And then you create and put the staves inside, and you weave it from the bottom down. Once you get to a certain point, you can turn it up this way and weave it. And then you do the rim and do all the finish work. They originated on Nantucket Island.
Are you from Nantucket Island?
No, but I actually studied on Nantucket Island for about 3 weeks, and I've also studied with other famous basket makers through the years. I've done this since 2000.
It's a wonderful piece of work.
Thank you.
Welcome to Philadelphia.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me.
It's our pleasure. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Kentucky. And I've traveled all over as a young person, and then I moved to Colorado in 1975. I raised my family there. I have 3 daughters, and then I married a man that had 3 sons. And so we raised 6 children. We were the Brady Bunch.
Like a blended family?
Yes. And we retired in 1999. And we moved to Sanibel Island, which was a dream come true for me because I've always loved the water and beach and shells. And so we live in Sanibel Island in the winter, and then we live in Evergreen, Colorado in the mountains in the summer.
So that's a really ideal way of living. Are you an artist? How do you obviously you're an artist. What is your background?
Actually, I did art all my life, pretty much in and out. I was a semi-professional photographer for a while. I've done just about every art there is, and always been interested in the arts, collected art, and hand-painted photographs. But when we moved to Sanibel, I used to follow the Sanibel Island Shell Fair, which is the largest in the United States. And I always admired the sailors' Valentines, and I followed a lot of the artists. And so finally, in 2007, I decided I would try to do this myself. So I took a class, and then that was it.
So you walk the beaches, I would imagine, and pick up shells.
A lot. I walk the beaches. I collect all winter, and I will sometimes spend 3.5, 4 hours on the beach.
Are all your shells from Sanibel?
No. I buy shells from all over the world because obviously you can't get everything there, even though Sanibel is the 3rd best place in the world to shell.
And do you do this commercially, or is this more of an artistic endeavor for you?
No, I actually have been in galleries in Scottsdale, Arizona, Sanibel, Florida. I've been in galleries in Colorado. And now I actually teach the basketry for a big art organization on Sanibel. I teach that during the winter.
Well, it's just, and I see we have some books here too. Could you talk about those? Are they reference books? Or?
Yes, they are. This book is called Sailor's Valentines, Their Journey Through Time. And it was actually published by 4 ladies, wonderful artists. And actually, I have met most of them. And in this book, it really gives you an overall view of the antique Valentines, the English Valentines. And it actually gives you a overall view of a lot of the artists that have done this through the years. Not every artist is in this, but there's quite a few artists in this. And we refer to it, I do, as the Sailor's Valentine Bible, because you can go through and look through it and see how they've done things, how they positioned a shell, and you can learn a lot just from this book.
And there's another one here too that's more like one of your Valentines.
This book was done by John Fondas, and it's all on old antique Valentines. And he shaped it like a Valentine. See, the old Valentines, they used larger shells, and it was pretty much graphic designs. They didn't have a lot of flowers. Occasionally there'd be a few flowers in it. But and today, when they are artists, that they compete in a category that's called traditional, and when they do that, they have to use just the shells that were made from the Valentines during this period.
Are these books available? Can people?
Yes. Yeah. Most of these books, this one is, I think, available on Amazon.com. And this book here, I'm not quite sure. You might be able to find it there, but it is, you'd have to maybe do a little more research. I'm not really quite sure if it's through Amazon.com or not. I know at all the shell shows, they sell this book, and it's just a wonderful book.
Well, Brandy, it's just been an awesome, awesome experience having you here. Good luck in your competitions, and thank you so much for coming. And come again.
I will. If I'm invited, I'd love to. And I do thank you as being a wonderful host today.
Thank you.